Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Chiefs Digest live Q&A here on Tuesday nights. Here on YouTube, X, Facebook, anywhere that you're watching. Thank you for joining us. First day of training camp, everybody. A long day in St. Joe. A lot going on today. A quick day on the practice field. Just a 68-minute practice. I feel maybe for a little bit for the fans. I know officials up in St. Joe said that some fans started lining up outside to make sure they got the best seats today at 2 a.m. It was a quick practice, so understand if you went out, you might have been a little bit disappointed. I mean, the first day is usually a little bit of a quick workout. I'd have to go back and look and see. I don't remember how long last year's were, but it's usually a little bit of a quick workout. Just knock off the rust, as Andy Reid would say. Get the guys moving around a little bit. This is the first 5 days are a ramp-up period, acclimation period. So each day gets a little bit more intense up until July 27th, which is when the pads come on. And then we're really going to have some conversation. I've been asked a lot today, hey, how did certain, players look? How did Josh Simmons look? Well, let's get real. Let's just, face that right off the bat. Make sure I got my number right, because I think I said 6 earlier. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, the first team offense was on the field for 6 snaps. So whatever you think you can judge in 6 snaps, that's what we saw today. So I don't think it was you can necessarily learn a lot, especially without the pads on. But there were some intriguing things that we observed today as far as just the rotations go, some of the lineups, who's lining up where. Not a big surprise about what was going on at the tackle situation with Jawan Taylor starting training camp on the physically unable to perform list, otherwise known as the PUP list. We had Josh Simmons at left tackle, Jaylen Moore at right tackle with the first team. No surprise, Andy Reid said as much on Sunday, and I know it was his words got interpreted a couple of different ways, but I took it certainly as what we saw today, which was that Josh Simmons is going to be at the left tackle spot, and Jaylen Moore was going to be on the right side. I've been told that you will not expect Josh Simmons to be rotating. And I know Andy Reid's going to say sometimes that, hey, Andy Heck likes to rotate those guys. We were actually talking about it today at practice, that it's been a long time since you've seen very many of the starters rotate that much. Don't necessarily see the first team move a lot. I mean, Jawan Taylor, I don't remember Jawan Taylor maybe ever taking a left tackle snap. I mean, maybe there was a couple here and there that I missed, but the Chiefs want Josh Simmons to focus on left tackle only. So they're not going to be having him move to the right side. Jaylen Moore, while Jawan Taylor is out, is going to be manning down the right side. It's possible that he might sneak in a left tackle snap here or there. I doubt it. I doubt that will happen until Jawan Taylor gets back onto the practice field. Then you'll probably see Jaylen Moore, sharing some snaps at both positions, maybe with both those players a little bit, just to keep him going. But let's face it, I mean, I think the die is cast at this point that the Chiefs have seen enough with Josh Simmons that if he performs, if he is healthy, then he's going to be the left tackle. And I can't guarantee it. We've still got some football to see. And once again, that was the big question of the day: is how did Josh Simmons look? Well, we got 6 snaps to the first team on the field with a defense on the field. So I don't think there's enough to make a judgment there. Obviously, he was out there during the individual periods, with the group period, installation periods. But, hey, against air, you're not going to learn anything about an offensive lineman. So the one observation I'll make about Josh Simmons today is that and admittedly a little bit from a distance, but I thought that his lower body and his legs, they look a little thin. I mean, they're not bulked up, and that's not necessarily a concern. I think it's absolutely be expected to be normal because you're coming back from a patellar tendon injury. Let's face it, the last thing that you're going to start doing in your rehab and your recovery is going to be leg presses and doing anything significant weight on that knee as far as building up the strength. And he went an extended period of time without being able to do that, without building it up. I wouldn't be surprised just by own personal experience, and I'm sure others of you out there, if you've ever had knee surgeries or anything of that nature, then you'll know that, hey, your non-surgically repaired leg is going to be stronger than your other one. There's just going to be a difference. And once you're fully healed, then yeah, you're going to start building the muscle back and you're start going to get the bulk, but doesn't happen overnight. And when Josh started being able to do full body workout, full leg workouts, I don't know, we'll see what the timeline's been, but I don't think it's a concern. But that is the final test that he's got to be able to prove, once the pads come on, is that he's got that lower base strength, the leg strength, the power, not only to drive off of that as an offensive lineman, that's a key, and obviously run blocking is being able to drive with your legs. In pass blocking, though, it's going to be able to withstand some pretty big, heavy dudes coming at you and stand up and take it, and being able to dig yourself in. And I mean, I'm not betting against him. That I'm just telling you at this point what test that Josh Simmons still needs to pass, and he's been very impressive so far. So let's continue to see what happens. It was a little bit of a quiet day on the news front. We did hear from Andy Reid, George Karlaftis, Trey Smith, and of course Patrick Mahomes. I think that obviously the most emotional moment of the day was Trey Smith talking about the promise that he made to his mom. And, when she passed away, he was 15 years old. He made a promise to her that he was going to get his college degree and he was going to play in the NFL. Trey, reflecting back on that, on his mom and about his family, definitely one of the, not one of, it was definitely the most emotional moment of the day. Trey was a little embarrassed. At least he was expressing a little bit of embarrassment about showing emotion. And I wish he didn't feel that way. If it had been appropriate, I'd have gone up there and given that big dude a hug because he deserved it. Anybody who's ever lost a parent knew exactly what Trey Smith was going through today. That was just an emotional moment. And the reason he feels that way, the reason that he's showing that emotion, is that Trey Smith's one of the best dudes in the NFL. Best dudes on this team. He's just an incredible person, and that's genuine. Everything you see with Trey Smith is incredibly genuine. Couldn't be happier for him. Just his family, to be able to celebrate after all the things that he has certainly been through, the trials and tribulations. It has been a journey for that young man, and to get to where he is, he deserves to be able to enjoy it and to celebrate a little bit. I feel bad that he had to go through an emotional moment today. I know it's been an emotional moment for him in the past, but it was touching to see. And like I said, if you've lost a parent, and I've lost my mom as well, not in the same situation that Trey did. I mean, I was much older, but it doesn't change. You still feel that way about your mom. So very touching moment. Probably covers most of it today. I mean, there was obviously a lot to talk about as far as football on the field. I'm going to let you, as always, dictate the conversation and where we go, what we talk about. I'm sure we'll have some jumping off points from some of the questions today to talk about some of the action and what we did see. Like I said, in 68 minutes of football, it was a truncated practice. There was a little extended, not super extended, but there was a 7-on-7 period. Like I said, a very brief 11-on-11 period, team period. There was finished up with a special teams period, which was notable to me for really, it was there was a field goal special teams element, and then there was punt protection. So no live returns, but once again, the only two guys that were back there receiving any kicks on the returns were Nico Remigio and Sky Moore. So one day into training camp, we see no evidence whatsoever that anybody else is going to be considered for punt returns. And I don't necessarily think that's the case. I'm sure there's going to be some other names into it, especially, today they were just kicking kicks, they're catching punts. So there was no reason to have, a bunch of guys back there. Once they're returning punts and running downfield, then yes, you're not have two people do that. You're going to have 4 or 5 guys back there. So we'll see what happens. But Nico Remigio and Sky Moore, clearly the top 2 candidates for the punt return specialist job. And I think obviously Nico had a really nice catch today too. It's going to be another big part of his campaign to make a land a spot on this roster. So, all right, I'm going to turn it on over to all of you with the questions. I'm just saying the beginning of this question. I have to go to it from Chris because I saw Weird Al's name, with Weird Al selling out night after night on his tours of the summer. This summer, isn't it time for the NFL to do the right thing and name him as a halftime performer at the Super Bowl? Chris, as a longtime Weird Al Yankovic fan, I would completely and totally agree. I will sign any petition. I am completely on board. I have been to, I think, 3 Weird Al concerts. I would like to go to more. It is an incredible show. The dude is an incredible performer. Obviously, he's funny as all get out. And you'd be surprised. I mean, Weird Al's got an extensive fan base. So yeah, I think that absolutely Weird Al deserves to be, and honestly, Weird Al would be better than some halftime shows, a lot of halftime shows. So I've got no problems there, Chris. I am completely on board. Sign me up. We're completely on board with that. Let's do it. Chris, is it true that bats have been marking themselves as safe since the news of Ozzy's passing? Rest in peace, Ozzy. I wasn't a huge fan of Ozzy, but I get, I get the draw and the attraction, and there's a couple of Ozzy tunes that I'm absolutely big fans of, so I get it. The big passing. Nick is planning to come in later, Brian, so we will see if we've got any Hy-Vee finds of the week. I'm hoping that we do. Need some of those, and bounce some things off of Nick. Nick was off today, much deserved day off because he's got a lot to go on the rest of this week. I believe I'm going to see Nick at practice tomorrow. Dude works way too much, so he had a much deserved day off today, but got the chance, if we get to later, I'll bounce a couple of things off of him, of some observations that I had today, and see what he thinks about that. Andrew, hey Andrew, since you're here and I'm behind on replying back to you, yes, if you want to come by and mow, anytime this week when it is dry and not too hot, you have full permission to do that, sir. So go for it. And I know I got some other things I need to get back with you on. So yes, don't go anywhere, Andrew. I'll be getting back to you soon. I love this. I can deal with, kind of personal business here during the show, get some things lined up, like getting the yard work taken care of. So thank you, Andrew. I thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. And if football practice has started yet, dude, man, pace yourself. It is hot out there. Way too hot. All right, Scott, now that the offseason is over after free agency, the draft, contract extensions, etc., what's the one thing you'd change or still do? Ooh, interesting. Good question. One thing that would change for the Chiefs. After doing the breakdown of the 53 player roster, I spent a lot of this offseason feeling like the Chiefs were not in that bad of a shape at safety. And they're still not. They're really top heavy, though. I mean, I think you got to feel halfway decent about their top 3 safeties. I do have some Brian Cook concerns, as big of a fan as Brian Cook as I am, and him coming out. I'm not sure that we've seen the same Brian Cook since the ankle injury. So I'm really hoping that, we're going to be talking to Brian Cook on Wednesday on the podium. I really hope that, we see more from him. But I'll tell you what, I mean, you go through the offseason and everything, and I'm I am on board with Jaden Hicks. Big fan of Jaden Hicks. I like Chamari Connor too, but I'm going to pull up Justin Reid's contract, and I know it was very similar to the one that he signed when he came to Kansas City. But I'm going to pull up the breakdown of and the cap hits and everything for him on that deal in New Orleans. 3.8 this year, 11.5 next year, of which there's an out. And you have 6.9 in dead cap that we'd hit and taken 27, or you can keep him around for another 11.5 in his age 30 season. I think I would have signed that contract just because I think it just gives you depth. I mean, right now, like I said, I mean, if the Chiefs are able to go through an entire season with Brian Cook, Chamari Connor, and Jaden Hicks as their three safeties without any injuries, they'll be fine. I mean, they'll be okay. You know, there's Mike Edwards might be the fourth safety. You know what? Major Williams might be the fourth safety. Deion Bush could be the fourth safety. I'm not sure they're as deep as in the past because I don't have Justin Reid. And that contract wasn't super expensive. I mean, they could certainly have afforded that hit. I think this year and next year, I mean, that's when it gets a little tricky, but that's not a deal-breaking contract. It's not as much as Nick Bolton got. I mean, it was really kind of portrayed as a little bit of a, do you sign Nick Bolton or Justin Reid? I mean, I get if the Chiefs just, truly believe that, maybe Justin Reid's best football is close to being behind him. I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, I think Justin Reid's going to be able to live up to that contract for the next 3 seasons. I could be wrong, but I would bank on that at least for the next 2 seasons. And that's what I think. I mean, I look at this, and like I said, that was the one position going through the 53 that I'm like, if I'm the Chiefs, I really wish I had one more body. And ideally, maybe it isn't even Justin Reid. Maybe it's someone who's not quite Justin Reid, maybe a little bit more affordable. I don't have a specific player. Justin Reid's the most readily example, and that's why, based on just the value of that contract, I would have signed that contract. Now, maybe Justin Reid didn't want to. I mean, I know Justin Reid wanted to go back home, and it looks like that he is absolutely ecstatic to be back in New Orleans. And with Tyrann Mathieu retiring, that is even a better situation for him. He's going to be a leader of that defense. And if that may have been the pull. I mean, maybe the Chiefs would have signed him to that contract, but maybe he just wanted to go to New Orleans. I get that. But I would have signed him to that. I would have, if that was what it came down to. And I don't know that necessarily Justin Reid. I mean, a lot of times, and the Chiefs do this, tell the players, say, look, go out and get what you get and come back to us. And if we can match it, we'll do that. I don't know that they said that to Justin Reid. I don't know if Justin Reid and his agent came back to the Chiefs. That's the one thing that I think I would have done. I think I would have done differently. The one thing that I think I would still do, and there's a few different moves, but the one that I think obviously that you look at in retrospect right now and say, would you still do it? I would still sign Jaylen Moore. The Chiefs are in such a better shape, as far as just where they are in case of disaster than they were last year. Last year, if one of your tackles went down, or in the case of Kingsley not succeeding, you went to Wanya Morris. Wanya Morris is still there. Wanya Morris is going to be your fourth option, maybe. I mean, he could get bypassed. You never know. But right now, he'd be your fourth option at tackle. He was your third option last year, so that's at least a one spot upgrade. Jaylen Moore, I think, is an incredible safety blanket. I'm sure that Jaylen is disappointed if Josh Simmons wins that job. I'm sure he was disappointed when Josh Simmons was drafted because he knew then that there was a chance that he wasn't going to start. We haven't really gotten a chance to talk to Jaylen about it. We'll see what he has to say. I haven't seen any evidence of any bad attitude or anything of that nature. I would not begrudge the dude if he was disappointed that, because his chance that he signed in Kansas City because he thought he was going to get a chance to start at left tackle, and then they drafted left tackle in the first round. That hurts. So I understand if that guy's disappointed, but if I'm the Chiefs, I still do that, even at the cost, which is basically, I think, 2 years, 31 million, top of my head, if I remember correctly, rounds up to 31. I still do that because if you're the Chiefs, you need to protect Patrick Mahomes, and you didn't do that well enough the last couple of seasons at the left tackle spot. You need a premium backup, and we've talked about it before. I mean, Jaylen Moore right now would most likely be your right tackle starter in 2026 if Josh Simmons works out. So I'd still do that for a lot of different reasons. All right, Jackie, will there be competition at both tackle spots or just left tackle? I'll be honest, Jackie, I'm not even sure there's going to be competition at either one. I think that the battle at left tackle is, to me, it's Josh Simmons against himself. If Josh Simmons passes all the tests, if he looks the part, if he succeeds in practices, he's going to get obviously a little bit of playing time. We'll see how much that the Chiefs end up playing their starters, how much experience he gets. I think that was obviously a little bit of the struggles for Kingsley last year, is that he didn't, just playing with the starters. He didn't get a ton of playing in the preseason. Maybe that would have shown some of the growing pains and that you might have, and given the Chiefs a little bit of pause. Not sure that they necessarily remember Bonnier was banged up in the preseason and training camp a little bit, so didn't necessarily have a ton of options. So maybe that was the way it was going to play out anyway. But hey, the Chiefs ended up firing off the emergency flares. Maybe they would have done that earlier had Kingsley played a little bit more. I think you got to let Josh Simmons play a little bit more in the preseason just to knock off the rust and to find out what you truly have in him. But I don't know if there's a ton of competition. I mean, I really think that Josh Simmons is competing against himself. As long as he plays well in that spot and doesn't struggle, I don't know if there's anything Jaylen Moore can do to beat him out at that spot. And once Jawan Taylor comes back, I'm 95% confident that he will be the right tackle. Could it change at some point during the season if he struggles? Sure. But I think, I've talked about this before. There's not really a good upside for making the decision that unless Jawan Taylor is just not good, and Jaylen Moore is significantly better, there's just not a good explanation for benching Jawan Taylor off the get-go and going to Jaylen Moore, because I don't think that would be in the best interest of making sure that you don't lose Jawan Taylor. And what I'm talking about there is just mentally. You might need Jawan Taylor. I mean, if you started Jaylen Moore at right tackle and Jawan Taylor is demoted, that's not going to be a guy in the right headspace. That if you've got an injury now and all of a sudden he needs to play, and if you've got two injuries, you might need Jawan Taylor at left tackle. You need him fully invested. You need him emotionally there. You don't need him, down in the dumps. And Jaylen Moore, I don't know. Like I said earlier, I think he's disappointed too. I think that his expectations, I think, certainly are a little bit different than Jawan's. I think obviously probably is handling it so far evidently pretty well. I mean, we don't know. I don't know that for sure, but I haven't seen nor heard of any issues with Jaylen, the way he's going about it. But I could see some issues, and that's no knock against Jawan. I mean, that's just the reality. When you're making as much money as Jawan is, you're paid to be the right tackle the way Jawan is. You're recruited to play the right tackle position. I mean, like I said, unless there's a health reason that Jawan Taylor cannot play, I just don't see there being a competition at right tackle. So I think that if everything works out the way the Chiefs believe that it will, Josh Simmons is going to start at left tackle, Jawan Taylor at right. I don't think there's going to be a really competition at either one of those spots for the most part. Perry, do you find it odd that they aren't altering Rice's reps? I find it odd that the Chiefs are not talking about altering Rice's reps, because I think they probably are going to. I mean, and maybe they won't. I mean, maybe Andy Reid hold it true. Maybe he will just go ahead and because Rasheed Rice was going to go ahead and get first team starter snaps. Maybe there's just they don't really see the need to dump more on him with the injury. That would normally be the thing that Andy Reid would say in a situation like this, is that, whenever they got a player that's going to be suspended. In the past, he has sometimes talked about, loading that player up a little bit and getting them as many snaps as they can during the preseason, so that then, once they come back, they can draw on that. And it's not maybe as much of a, just there's a little bit, when they come back, a little bit less rust to knock off. They're a little bit more familiar, more in tune with what's going on. They're obviously, Rasheed coming back from the injury, you got to manage that a little bit. So maybe that's why the conversation is going the way that it is. And if I had time, I wanted to get a clip of Patrick Mahomes when I asked him today about that very question about, hey, do you do anything differently? Are you thinking differently? Are you managing it differently as far as working with Rasheed right now during training camp, knowing that you might not have him for an extended period of time? And Patrick gave me an answer that he did not even refer to Rasheed Rice, did not even, reference him. Didn't say his name, didn't even say him, he, nothing. I'll read you what Patrick said. You can't worry about stuff that's going to happen down the line. You worry about how you can get better this day and how you can get better the next day. And that's how you go about our mindset regardless. All that stuff will handle itself, and I'm sure the coaches can speak more to it. But at the end of the day, we're going to go out there and attack the practice and attack the day so that we're prepared to play the next day. With all due respect to Patrick, that's just a nothing quote. He could have said that. That could be an answer to almost any question. It certainly didn't really address the answer of, hey, so what are you doing with Rasheed Rice? And perhaps he was told, hey, if you get any Rasheed questions, just punt it. Maybe he wasn't expecting to get it asked in that way. So I don't know what to make out of that, but yeah, Perry, I find it odd that the Chiefs are at least not talking about that. And like I said, I get it in the sense that they are probably a little bit concerned about the knee and want to make sure that they're not overloading them. And that's why they're not planning to overload him. Now, maybe once they feel good about the knee, maybe they will. Maybe they'll give him a few extra reps here and there, and in this situation, it would be like, hey, if I start seeing Rasheed Rice taking snaps with Gardner Minshew as well as Patrick Mahomes, that's when I'm going to know that they're giving him a few more extra reps, maybe to just kind of bank on him picking up what he needs, before potential, suspension and everything. So, Jesus with the super chat. Appreciate you, Jesus, and moving you to the top of the line for that. Thank you, my friend. How many games will Rasheed Rice and Jawan Taylor will miss approximate? I think obviously with Rasheed Rice, you're hoping that all he misses is a potential suspension, which we all expect will be handed out. Should be handed out early in the season. I know that there's, there's some debate and question about whether it will kick in, week 1, week 2, week 3, maybe just how quickly. Talking to my friend Pat Strathman down at ESPN Wichita today, because I had talked about before in the past that, usually the, Roger Goodell's timeline for when he hands down suspensions, most of the time in cases like this is generally 60 to 90 days after the criminal case is concluded. Now the NFL has alluded to an expedited timeline on Rasheed Rice. They have all the information. They've had it for a while. The criminal case resolution introduced no new information. If there was any new information, I would say that the new information was slightly on Rasheed's side. So it gets into what's he going to get? You read the prognostications online from everyone. I think you'd probably say the range is 2 to 8 games. I don't think it'll be 8. I'd be really surprised if it's that far. And I've said that, hey, my read from what the Chiefs see about it, they're hoping for 2. expecting 4, bracing for 6. And that's me putting explanation to what I'm hearing from people inside the organization. You know, 4 to 6 is a general consensus. I still am not going to rule out that it's a short suspension. There are people who are optimistic that maybe it might be a short suspension. We'll see. I've said, you'll never win a bet banking on what the NFL and Roger Goodell is going to do when it becomes a suspension, because the track record is across the board. So let's see what happens. But it's now with Jawan. I mean, I've got no reason to believe that Jawan Taylor is going to miss any action. All 3 of the guys who are on the PUP list were out there today in the rehab tent and working on the sidelines. Trey Watson, the backup tight end, was out there as well, along with Christian Fulton. Andy Reid has said that Jawan Taylor is further along than Christian Fulton is. I was even a little bit surprised that Jawan Taylor was even starting training camp on the PUP list. Maybe just a little residual. Now, he was limited during OTA, so there's some legitimacy there. I was just surprised that he was on the PUP list to begin, but like I said, it's a kind of a fortuitous circumstance as far as it lets the Chiefs kind of let Jawan rest a little bit while getting the 2 guys that they want to get a bunch of snaps. So it's working out okay. I would be surprised if Jawan, unless there is something new, I think Jawan is going to start week 1. It's just whether or not that there's anything else that pops up. I would expect that Jawan's going to, be ready to begin the start of the season. Thanks for the super chat, Jesus. Truly appreciate that. Let's see what our next question is. Alex, I read something about Bashard Smith looking explosive. Is this true? Oh yeah, Bashard Smith, has looked explosive since the get-go, and he just about, I'm trying to find it in my notes here. I feel like it was late in practice. Where was it? Maybe it was early then. He had a play that, there it is. Oh yeah, it was at the end of the first rotation of the 7-on-7. Chris Oladokun took a deep shot at him. It was a little bit of the double coverage. It was also towards the end of the field where there was a little bit of a wind today, and this ball was into the wind. Mahomes ran into it a little bit. If you've seen, I know the highlight is out there of Mahomes taking a deep shot at Xavier Worthy. That was the first play of 7-on-7, basically the first play of an offense versus defense. And Mahomes takes a shot at Xavier Worthy against Jaylen Watson. Worthy had a step. The ball was just another probably yard in front of him. Probably catches the ball and goes into the end zone for a touchdown. Had to hold up a little bit for it, and that meant that even though he hauled it in, Watson was able to catch up. And it's not supposed to be tackled this time of year, but there was a little bit of a tackle. So it wasn't a touchdown, but like I said, that throw was into the wind. Oladokun it was his one throw on the first rotation of 7-on-7. When you're the third and fourth quarterbacks, you get one play, and he took a shot at Bashard Smith deep downfield. I couldn't tell you whether it was I did not see where Bashard was lined up at the snap, so I don't know if this was a wheel route or he was split out wide, but it was a deep ball downfield. It was into double coverage. But the ball, it landed in Bashard Smith's hands, and had there not been 2 defenders there to break it up, like I said, at different circumstances, if that ball doesn't get held up by the wind, probably catches it for a touchdown. It was a catchable ball in most circumstances. But that was, to my knowledge, I think the only touch that Bashard Smith had target of any sort. But we saw him obviously make a lot of plays in OTAs and show that speed. He was, by my count, at one point, third running back in behind Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. So early in camp for sure, but Chiefs are getting some looks at him. Does that mean he's the number 3 running back? Not yet, because it's July 22nd. but very interesting, very encouraging to see that. So he would have been working with the twos. I mean, he's out there. He was with Gardner Minshew, but yeah, I mean, if explosive is absolutely a word I would use to describe Bashard Smith based on everything I've seen during off-season workouts. Brian, why is Hollywood still not a load-bearing part of this offense? I mean, I get what you're asking there, and I think, I mean, a part of it I think is obviously that all things being equal, healthy as can be, at the wide receiver spot, Rasheed Rice is going to be the biggest stick in this offense. I mean, that's going to be the guy. Rasheed is the guy that if everybody is healthy right now at this point in their career, Rasheed Rice is the best receiver in that room. So he's going to be that guy. Then the question is, who's number two? Is it Hollywood? I mean, based on what you saw last year and just whole experience, I mean, in this particular offense, not basing it off anything that's happened in the past, but just based on this particular offense and what has been done to this point, I mean, you'd say Xavier Worthy is the number two wide receiver in this offense. So is Hollywood number three? Well, that's why he wouldn't be a load-bearing part of this offense quite yet. I mean, he may play himself into that spot. And I know he had like one catch, and there's a I did not mark down whether it was an incompletion or not, but he had a deep ball that Mahomes threw to him in the first play of the team period, the very limited team period. He had a catch during 7-on-7. Mahomes took a deep shot at him on that first play of the team period and looked like Hollywood slipped a little bit on the field. It looked like it was just slipped on the field. I mean, it could have just been traction. Could have got the spikes caught. I didn't think that it was necessarily contact with the defender, but just looked like it was just a quick slip that slowed him down. And the ball was also going this time in the direction with the wind. So he was significantly overthrown. But like I said, I mean, I think the combination of the slip and the wind kind of led to that. So yeah, really just two targets in the limited plays that they did run today in teamwork between 7-on-7 and 11-on-11. Now the two targets there, Rasheed had 6 targets. Worthy honestly didn't have that much. Man, do I have Worthy with just one target? I think that's what I've got here, Worthy for today. Right? I mean, Mahomes spread the ball around quite a bit, and Rasheed was the biggest beneficiary of everything. But yeah, I mean, in the limited work that they did today, even Nico Remigio had more targets than Hollywood did. So is that a little bit of a surprise? Maybe. So, but I think that's your explanation to me, Brian. I mean, I would say that Hollywood is no better than the 4th passing option, because I think, obviously Travis Kelce is still going to be ahead of him. And then you've got Rice and Worthy. So it's kind of the way I see it. So I think that kind of explains it a little bit. Buck and Bob get the podcast. Appreciate you guys with the super chat. Any camp tips like parking, best seats, time you should arrive, best way to get autographs, really just any tips, and I'm working on this because Nick the ever the producer suggested me about doing a video that goes into this. So I'm hoping to get that wrapped up here in the next couple of days. Didn't get to shoot as much today for it as I was hoping to, but I'll go into a couple of those right now, just to answer your questions. Parking, there's the earlier you get there, the better when it comes to parking. Now, you can tell a little bit about how the day is going to go. Now, the Chiefs have said, because remember, the Chiefs cap attendance each day at practice to 5,000 fans. Mark Donovan said today that there are a handful of days that are already sold out for free tickets. Yeah. But let's put it this way. If you have training camp tickets and you are going on a weekend, you are going on a day that the quarterbacks are signing autographs during the week, then you're going on a busy day. So just plan on there being 5,000 people there. practice start at 9:15. I wouldn't want to be there any later than about 8:30. The line can get long. The parking back up at about 8:30 can be, fairly extensive. It's not, it moves actually pretty good. Now, remember, you've got to go online, reserve your tickets online, get your parking online. All of that needs to be done before you head up to camp, especially if you're going to camp, because you want to make sure you got tickets and you don't want it to be a day that it's already sold out and you get up to St. Joe and you're just kind of out of luck. So go online, go on to Chiefs, Chiefs.com, Chiefs.com/trading camp will get you to where you need to be. Reserve your tickets, get those. Parking is $7, so you need to reserve that to make your life easier. And like I said, I mean, I would say, and especially, I guess the practice starts at 9:15. Players will start to get onto the field. The gates open at 8:30. So I honestly would want to be there before the gates open, and maybe even, a little bit earlier than that. So I don't think you necessarily need to be standing in line for a long time, but if I'm going to camp, I would want to be there by 8:15 on an average day. If it is one of those special days, a weekend day, you might want to be targeting more like 7:45, 8 o'clock, just so that you can kind of beat the crowd. On days when it's heavy, the parking lot J is the lot that's closest there to the entrance. To enter the training camp, you kind of go through Spratt Stadium on, I guess that's the east side of Spratt Stadium, and then you go through the stadium up the hill to training camp, and you go through the pro shop and all that, and the kids play area. So you got a little bit of a walk once you get there. But if you don't get into the parking lot that's closest to that, then you're going to get diverted to the auxiliary lots. And those, you either have a real significant walk to get to training camp, or you're going to be taking a shuttle bus to get over there. And that's just going to extend your time either way. So, especially if it's a weekend or a quarterback day for autographs, if you're getting there at 8:30, you might not be in by the time that practice starts. So that's why I say you do want to get there a little bit early. And seating is best first come first serve too. So if you want a good seat, and especially if you want to get into a good area for autographs, you definitely want to get there early. Now, autographs, there's no autographs before practice. You might see a player every once in a great while might go over and sign an autograph. I would say 99 times out of 100, if you see that, it's probably a family member or somebody that they know. But the period for autographs is after practice. And where the players go to sign autographs, there's a hill on the, behind the goalpost. There's tents on top of this hill. Now there's two hills now. So I'm not talking about the far one, away from everything, where there's some, there's a couple of cabanas or whatever you want to call them. I mean, they're basically little trailers, but they're little tailgate trailers. Same things that they have out at Arrowhead in the parking lot for tailgating for the VIPs. They've got a couple of those out on the far hill. That's not what we're talking. We're talking about the close hill, the one where the players come down their entrance. That's where, players will sign their autographs. So, you want to be in that line, really the best place to be is in that corner behind the far end zone. You want to be there. If you're behind the near end zone, there's two fields there. If you're on the field closest to the tree line, that's where you want to be for the autographs. You want to be in the back of the end zone in that area, down in the corner. There's also, you can kind of go up the hill a little bit, and some players will sign autographs there. It's not as rich of an autograph area. I mean, you definitely have a better chance if you are down on the fence line, down by the field. That's your best place to be able to get autographs. And obviously, I mean, if you want a particular player, look and see, which autograph days that you're going to, because it's a different group every single day. They do have a couple of team days. I think today was a team day where all the players are encouraged. And remember, I mean, every year, Andy Reid, and Clark Hunt too, they tell the players, look, we expect you to sign autographs. I mean, we expect you, because that's part of, embracing the fans and serving the fans and serving Chiefs Kingdom. They want their players to do that and take the time to make the fans feel special, do some autographs. I know Travis and Patrick were both signing autographs, pretty long today. Andy Reid, I saw signing autographs after his press conference. So everybody, I think, I guess today was a team day, so there was a lot of guys signing autographs. And it gets chaotic if it's quarterback day, and so it's Mahomes signing autographs. It gets chaotic. Tight end day gets a little chaotic. The other days can get a little chaotic too, just because it's numbers. I mean, if you got 14 offensive linemen signing autographs, that's a lot of people signing autographs. So that's where you want to be in that area. I saw you have a second part. Oh, and what's the best place to possibly meet you? I'll get to that in a second, guys. Okay, so let's see. Anything else? And really, just any other tips? Remember to the NFL. This is an NFL security event, so you got to be careful what you bring in. The Chiefs have an extensive rules list. Once again, see that on the website. They've got a list of prohibited items. You have to have clear bags. You can't be bringing in, backpacks or anything like that. Now you'll see, I take a backpack, but I have to go through security screening with the backpack, and they look through it and examine it all, and they go through the media entrance. I mean, that's one of the benefits of working. But for fans, you got to have a clear bag with anything. I think there's rules on how much liquid. I mean, they do let you bring water into the practices since it is hot. There is water available, but obviously it's at training camp prices, so it's a little pricey. There's not, I wouldn't say extensive food options. There are some. I would never plan on going to training camp and thinking to yourself you're going to get full on breakfast. There are much better choices than there used to be. I mean, there are, breakfast foods, there's sandwiches. I know today was a season ticket member day, so there were pancakes. There were not pancakes every day. So don't be thinking that Mark Donovan's going to be flipping pancakes for you every single day at training camp. That's just season ticket member day. So there are some food options, but like I said, I would plan on, at least having a snack, or if not breakfast beforehand, or at least a snack and then breakfast with, everybody in the gang that you're going to training camp with afterwards. Back when I used to go to the practice, that was the plan, and that was I mean, and when practice usually ends, I mean, I guess it's at that point, it's a little bit more of a lunch option. So maybe like I said, if you want to grab yourself a little light breakfast, light snack, and then just plan on going out to St. Joe and having lunch with the gang afterwards, that's probably the best plan. There's some good places to eat in St. Joe, so you can do that. Other tips, I mean, as far as I will say, hey, if you're planning on trying to get autographs, you're probably going to be sitting in the grass because you can't sit in the stands on the far side and then think to yourself, oh, I'm coming to go over there at the end of practice and get autographs. No, that area is going to be packed during practice. So if you're going there specifically for autographs, you're going to go want to sit on the hill. So that's going to mean bringing some towels, because it is dewy. It is wet on those hills in the morning. You get the heat, the humidity, everything. I know there was one media member that I will not mention today who briefly was sitting on the ground watching practice, and I think regretted it because it was pretty wet down there. Obviously been a lot of rain, so it's muddy too. You got to be ready for that. Check the weather. Obviously, that's always a big one, because if you need to bring a poncho, anything that nature, you want to be prepared for that. Also, if there is lightning in the area, it doesn't even need to be much rain. If there's lightning, they will move practice indoors. So that's why always check. I mean, especially if there is severe weather before practice, check to make sure that they haven't moved practice indoors. Now the Chiefs generally only announce that on social media. When I hear about it, I'll announce it on my social media platforms too. So, look at Twitter, look at Blue Sky, probably Threads as well. That's where you'll get some information. I would say, there's probably a couple of sites where you can get reliable information, but the quickest info that you'll get on whether or not there's going to be practice that day to weather is going to be on the social media platform. So check that, especially if there is some weather in the area, and check St. Joe, because like well, a little bit today, but Sunday specifically. Sunday, I mean, I live in the Northland, and it was raining pretty hard in Northland, and didn't rain at all really in St. Joe. So, and it can be the other way around. I mean, it can be clear skies when I leave my house, and then all of a sudden I get to St. Joe and it's absolutely pouring rain. So, check the weather, because that can be another thing that really ruins your trip up to training camp. And I mean, that's a big part of it. I mean, like I said, there's quite a bit of walking, so be prepared for that. There is not a lot of, proper seating, like bleacher seating. There is some along the sidelines of the near field. But if you are, sitting on the end zones, on the ends, where you're going to get, for the most part, your best sight lines, then you want to be prepared with some towels, knowing that you're going to sit on the ground. Make sure you got your sunscreens, all of that, because there's no protection out there. You are going to get burned, so take care of yourself there. You don't need to get any skin problems. I think the only other thing that I would probably mention, I mean, the pro shop is great. So, you're going to be led through the pro shop, both into practice and out of practice. So you'll get a couple of chances to pick up any souvenir items that you need to. And it's a pretty good pro shop that they built, they put together out there. So you'll want to check that out. There was one more, guys. I'm trying to remember. Oh, what was I going to, I was going to get ready to go that direction. I'm trying to remember what it was. Look here, if you want to know where, now they're going to use both fields, but if you want to know where the majority of the action is going to be, look for the cameras behind the goalpost, because that's going to tell you where the primary field will be that day. That's the field where all the team periods will be, the 7-on-7 periods will be. If there's one-on-one drills that day, that's where those are going to be, is on that field. The bulk of the most interesting work, and I say interesting because if the coaches want to film it and want to see it and break it down later, it's going to be on that field. So that's where the majority of the work will be. There'll be other drills on the secondary field, but if you want to look at the primary field, they have the scout cameras. These are what shoot the coaches' film, and they are just, they're little tiny trucks. I mean, they're not even really trucks. They're just trailers, essentially, but little kind of huts on a trailer, set up behind the end zones. A long silver pole that goes up, and so it's got a camera on the top of it. It looks like a little bit of a flying saucer on the top of the stick, top of the pole. But look for those, because there's one on each end of the end zones. Look for that. That's going to tell you the main field that day. So, I mean, if you're sitting in the stands and the main field is the far field, I mean, I think that's a terrible way to watch practice, because you're not going to be close to the majority of the action. It's going to be over on the other field. So you're not going to get a lot of good views. The best part of it is that, you're going to get some drills over there in that direction. You're going to get a good view. Now, one thing I will say is that one of the more entertaining groups to watch are the defensive line. Defensive line's always in that corner of the near field. So it's that corner when you first walk in. So, you've got the hill, and I know like 610 has their tent there. So if you want to meet like Cody Tapp and Alex Gold, they're there every day. That's where you go to see those guys. But in that kind of corner, that's where the defensive line. And I tell you what, yeah, I mean, when you got Brendan Daly and Chris Jones and Mike Pinnell and characters like that over there, and George Karloftis and Charles Omenihu, watching defensive line go through drills is entertaining, because those folks all have something to say, and they get some things done. And you might hear some fruity language and salty language. So if you got some kids, you maybe don't want to be there. You might have to introduce them to some new words and tell them some things that they are not allowed to say at school. But it's a lot of fun, because they get fiery over there. I mean, that's where I would want to be. If I was going to watch a practice, I'd want to be close to that. But like I said, if you want to watch the main action on the main field, look for those cameras, because that's where you want to be. And I do. I mean, I feel like that the best angles are on the hills behind the end zones. You're not supposed to be allowed to stand. There's a little bit more standing and less, prohibitions on the far end zones on that far end. It used to be that you could stand there all day long, but now that they've built those hills, they really just try to discourage standing. But standing anywhere along the fence line is not really appreciated. And I will say this, Buck and Bob, because then you ask, okay, how do you possibly meet me? Oh no, you really don't want to meet me. You probably want to meet Nate Taylor or Sam McDowell or somebody like that. But definitely want to meet Nick. But the media tent is if you're looking at the tents on that hill, the media tent is the second from the end. So it's really right behind the goal post. Behind the end zone, right behind the goalpost of the far field. So you go over there. There's a camera platform in the front of it, so it's carpeted. So you'll have a pretty good idea. Chiefs production is right next door, so sometimes they'll have a camera platform out there as well. And it's really actually more of it's a stage, because they'll have their desk out there for when Matt McMullen and Mitch Holthus do their shows out there. So those two places are where the media. I'm sure there's probably my colleagues who would prefer that I not tell you that, but it's pretty obvious to figure it out. So I mean, if you want to go over there, I try to be courteous and kind. If I see you or see somebody or somebody ask for me, I will tell you that before practice I'm obviously doing roster checks, so I'm not usually paying attention to anybody if they're trying to say hi. I will also tell you that if you want to annoy all of us a lot, then you stand in front of the media tent so that we can't see the action on the field. That annoys us greatly. And you're not going to get, Adam Teicher, of course, was our chief officer in charge of telling people to sit down. So now somebody else is going to have to step up. I don't want to do it. So don't stand in front of the media tent. Just do me a favor, make my life easier. I don't want to have to deal with that. So that's all I'm saying. But I know, there was a couple of folks that came by the tent today, behind all, and everything like that to say hi. Most of us are great and cordial and very kind. Like I said, sometimes I don't see anything of people because I'm too busy trying to check out my roster, do my attendance and everything. So if I don't see you, don't acknowledge you, I'm not being rude. I'm not being a jerk. I'm just actually trying to do my job. So I think that's a lot. I probably spent way too much time talking about this, and my video won't be that long. So we'll get into some of those things. I managed to get the video out there, and Nick's going to kill me because it's already 8:00 and I'm not even, okay, I have made it past 7:00 with the questions. So we're good there. But Buck and Bob, you got me on talking about training camp and tips for everybody. So now we haven't even really talked about training camp and what happened today. So I feel bad. Some of you are probably like, Matt, talk about what happened today. We need to know. Jackson, who are you most looking forward to watching this camp? I don't even say this facetiously. This is not me joking or anything like that. I'm going to genuinely enjoy watching the punters in this camp. And and today it wasn't specifically kind of a punting day, because what they were working on today was protections. And one thing, just another kind of tip for training camp, for special teams, there's going to be one side that's wearing the yellow caps that have on those. That's the scout team for that special teams unit. So that's the side that's just playing the foil. So it's the team that doesn't have the yellow caps. That's the starters. That's the team that's, getting the rep. And not necessarily the starters, because in some cases it's going to be the backups. It's going to be the number twos, who are getting their work in and everything. So won't always be like, that it's just like truly the scout team. There's going to be some times that the backups are getting their reps as the ones. And so then you'll see the other side with the yellow caps. But that tells you at least who the drill is for. So today, for instance, and the yellow caps were the return team, but there was no returns. It was just kicks, but it was, for working on the protection team. So it was just working on protections, making sure everybody knows their assignment and the punters can get their kicks off. There's no blocks, anything like that. And I was down for that period. I was down on the field because they already taken us down to get ready for the post practice press conferences. And I'll say, I mean, I thought that from my angle, Eddie Chaplitsky had a really good day. It's the Chiefs, what they're looking for from their punters, they're looking for hang time and distance, but they're looking for hang time and placement. And from my angle, I couldn't necessarily give you a grade on either Matt Araiza or Eddie Chaplitsky about which one was superior as far as placement goes. But I tell you what, Eddie Chaplitsky was booming those kicks, and he had some great hang time today. So based purely on hang time, I'd say he had the better day. And and once again, I mean, wasn't a punt drill, so it's if it is, then you're going to see a little bit different. Maybe Araiza would have been delivering the kicks a little bit differently. He might have been working specifically on something today. I mean, as far as what, maybe he was just he might have been working on placement, pooch. Maybe he was trying to work on getting the ball end over end. He could be working on something different in a day like this. And maybe Chaplitsky was working on hang time only. So maybe they were both working on something different. And, coaches know that. We don't know that. Based on what I saw today, that's what I'm guessing was the difference, because I thought that Chaplitsky just had, much superior hang time, but that could just be that Araiza was working on some different styles and different kicks. So that can happen. And you get a sense of that. And that's one other thing too. I mean, if you're at practice, watch the clocks and watch the flags, because or the chains, because that will tell you. I mean, there's going to be days you're going to be at training camp and they're going to be in third down all day. And then you're going to say, well, hey, wait a minute. The offense had a terrible day. Well, yeah, they were on third downs all day. That's what they were working on. I mean, third down's a low percentage play. So of course the offense is going to have a terrible day. And in this situation, I mean, if the punt returners are just catching the football, they're not actually returning the ball. So there's no blocking set up. There's no coverage set up. Then the punters could just be working on something. So like I said, I'm not taking too much from today, but I'm enjoying the punting battle. I mean, because these two guys can kick and they both got great legs. So I'm looking forward to it. Other things, I mean, it's going to be until the pads come on. I mean, that's not to be, not to use Nick's phrase, but that's going to be the key thing. And I'm really looking forward to seeing some of the matchups with the young offensive line and defensive line and those one-on-ones. I want to see how Josh Simmons does. I want to see, what Ashton Gelati and Omar Norman Lott look like. I want to see, hey, how's Charles Omenihu looking? How's George Karlaftis looking? I mean, I want to get a look at all those guys. Want to see Jawan Taylor when he gets back out there. Jaylen Moore. I mean, how's Kingsley looking? You can't judge offensive and defensive line until the pads come on. So I'm circling July 27th. That's when I want to start, seeing it, because that's the day that everything gets going on. Oh, Rick's gonna go see the Titans camp tomorrow. Yeah, if you see L'Jarius Sneed, tell him everybody in Kansas City says hello. Mark, can you ask Mark Donovan to please have microphones for the media members at those opening press conferences and all the others, so the fans can start listening to hearing the questions? Yeah, I mean, I will say this, Mark. I mean, especially at training camp, the Chiefs do have a microphone pointed towards the media. And they do, and just like they do at the facility now, where they have microphones that are over the reporters, and they do 65 toss power trap. They have somebody on the volume trying to boost the audio. Problem at training camp in particular, when we're out in the tent, is that you get all the background noise. And so I know that makes it even more difficult. Yeah, this morning, we were in a big room. Yeah, ideally, I think in that situation, you'd love for there to be mics, a handheld mic that the reporters could be using. But it's a big extra step. I mean, I know from my event planning, purposes back in the day, that would have been a pain in the neck for me to get an extra mic that you could go around. And in the room, I mean, everybody in the room could hear the questions. So I get them saying that the only people that have to really be doing that for the people that are watching the press conferences, online, on TV. Yeah, I get you, Mark. I do. I truly do. And I give them credit because they try to do some things. Sometimes there's just, you just, either it just isn't worth it, or, it's overlooked. But I hear you. I there are times when I'm watching some of the videos, and especially, hey, if I'm not on a road trip and I'm watching it on a press conference and I can't hear the question, it drives me crazy. So you're not alone there. None of you are all alone when you're talking about how you wish you could hear the questions better. Sometimes reporters are like that too. So I mean, Rick, I can't. I've never been to another team's training camp, so I can't tell you what happens there. I mean, for the most part, almost no one goes to a Chiefs training camp wearing another team's gear. I mean, occasionally it'll happen. I mean, you'll see just a stray jersey here or there. So I'm assuming that if you wear some Chiefs gear to a Titans camp, you probably get some snide looks. I don't think anybody's gonna, rough you up or anything, but you'll probably, get, like I said, get some snide looks. You might not get the greatest, customer service at times. Who knows? Probably just best to wear some neutral gear. I mean, I don't think you need to go to the expense of wearing some Titans gear or anything like that, but yeah, you would stand out if you're wearing some Chiefs gear in Tennessee. But hey, you know what? Maybe you want to. I don't know. Maybe you want to send a message. Major chip hazard. Is Kingsley starting camp at left guard this season? I mean, he's starting camp right today. He's at left guard. Mike Caliendo was a left guard with the second team. I can tell you if you'd like to know. I can tell you who was on the second team offensive line. Since you know who's on the first team, since first team was, as we talked about earlier, Josh Simmons, Kingsley, Creed, Trey, and Jaylen Moore. The second team offensive line: Wanye Morris, Mike Caliendo, Hunter Norzad, CJ Hansen, and Ethan Driscoll. So there you go. That was your second team offensive line. Kind of tells you where the depth chart is a little bit and who's either ahead or behind right now, but a lot to go. So we are far from there. Infopocalypse regarding Honey Badger: is 3 years long enough to be inducted to the Ring of Honor? Great question, because I'm trying to remember. I thought that we had a conversation with the Chiefs a few years ago about this, and I don't know if the criteria is online or not. But I think that, if I'm not mistaken, oh my gosh, and I even have like the search saved because I've done this search before. I believe that, and now there's nothing transparent about this process. I'm not even sure that there is a process other than the organization chooses, and might even be just Clark and the Hunt family. I do not know how the Chiefs choose their Hall of Honor recipients, because it is a opaque process. We are not behind the curtain on that one. There's no voting with the media or anything like that. But I understand, my recollection is correct. I do think that you have to be with the Chiefs for 4 years. I think you might find some examples, and I know there's going to be like some exceptions where they've let players in with less experience for specific reasons. But my recollection is that you've got to have 4 years on the field with the Chiefs to be a Hall of Honor recipient. So I'm not sure. I know that was a conversation that came up when Tyron left Kansas City, was like, was he eligible? And I'll ask again tomorrow in Apocalypse. I'll ask again this week, and I'll have an answer for you for sure next week. I promise you that. I'll check and see, especially with Tyron now retiring. I think that's great time to actually bring it up again. I'm with you guys. Weird Al would be a fantastic halftime concert, so I'm fully on board with this. Let's see. Oh, for Matt and Nick from Chris: how disappointing would you be if the Chiefs did not win another Super Bowl with Reid and Mahomes? Tell you what, Chris, I am going to save that for Nick, since you asked this for both of us, and I think that would be an interesting question for Nick to weigh in on. Jarrell, I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly. Hey, Matt, how did Jaylen Moore look on the right side? Can he potentially overtake Jawan Taylor? Like I said at the beginning, I mean, 6 snaps for team period, that's not enough for me to make any type of judgment on how Jaylen Moore looked, Josh Simmons, anybody looked, just not enough time today. We'll get more looks over the next few weeks, but I still say, I mean, I find it difficult to believe that Jaylen Moore, has much of a chance. I think the Chiefs want Jawan Taylor to be their right tackle. It would only be, to me, if there's some sort of something with Jawan Taylor that's more significant than the injury, but we've got no reason to believe that. Andy Reid has certainly suggested that Jawan's going to be back pretty soon, sooner than later. So I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, could I be wrong? Sure, I've been wrong before. I mean, there's no perfect here, but I know from talking, to people in the organization, I mean, the Chiefs want Jawan Taylor to be their right tackle this year. I don't think there's for them that there's really any upside to him not. I know some have talked about, hey, maybe you just go ahead and cut Jawan. I mean, once again, I mean, you do that and you get back to exactly what we talked about earlier. You walk away from Jawan Taylor and say, you like Jaylen Moore, you're going to make him your right tackle. Wanya Morris is your swing tackle, just like he was last year, and your depth has not improved at all. So I don't think that Jawan's going anywhere. I think he is going to be your right tackle, unless there is an injury or a serious performance issue. I think he's going to be your right tackle for this season. And like I've mentioned, I mean, as the devil's advocate here, Jawan had the knee cleanup. And while he hasn't talked to us in the media yet, I've heard from people in the organization that Jawan feels better with that knee than he's felt in years. So take that for what it is, and we'll see what happens when he does get on the field. But there could at least be room for optimism that Jawan's going to be, maybe could be improved this year. So Chief 65 TPT, or maybe we got an insider here, Chiefer. Do the Chiefs have anyone that's not injured? A lot. I mean, the fact that there's only 3 guys in the medical tent starting the season on the PUP list, that's like ridiculously low. And nobody was hurt on opening day, so that's even better. This seems like just, I mean, best health I can remember a Chiefs team starting training camp in forever. So they're in pretty good shape right now. Let's see. Sharon, who will be most missed since 2022? So Super Bowl 57 through 59 season. Jet McKinnon, Justin Reid, Turk Wharton. Ooh, good question, Sharon. I mean, of those 3 specifically, you know what? I mean, if someone wanted to make an argument for Jet McKinnon because this team does not have an obvious third down back, I might entertain that. But at the same time, Jets, I mean, as Andy Reid once said, he's a dinosaur. And his age finally caught up with Jerry. As good as he was and as good a dude as he is, I'm sorry, Jet, the age caught up with Jet. So I'm not even sure he would have a problem with me saying that, because he probably would be like Danny Glover in Lethal Weapon. I mean, he might be too old for this stuff. I think it's definitely between Justin Reid and Tershan Wharton. And I would say Justin Reid, I think you will miss the most if you have any injuries. If there's an injury at the safety position, then I think you're going to really wish that Justin Reid had come back. You might just miss Turk Wharton, period, because had 6.5 sacks last season. Last year, I mean, and this came up with the conversation I had today with Seren Petro on his show, because Seren, asked, hey, what, because we didn't, neither one of us had the numbers in front of us, but he brought the topic about, whether those 6.5 sacks for Turk Wharton were just a factor of maybe getting fortunate that, were the metrics really there as far as the hurries, the pressures, correlating with sacks, were they there? And they were. I mean, Tershan had a great season last year. His hurries and pressures were way up in addition to the sack. So it wasn't just like, hey, he got lucky a couple of times and had the same pressures. Matter of fact, I think I got that. I think I got the hurries up here in the quarterback hits, pressures. Oh, here we go. Yeah, I mean, for his pressures, let's put it this way. Tershan Wharton had never had more than 8 pressures credited to him in a season in his first 4 years. Last year, he had 23. So that explains the jump up to 6.5 sacks. So that's legitimate. He had 10 hurries as well as that. Never had more than 5. He had 1 hurry in 2023. And, and remember, I mean, Turk will tell you that he was not himself in 23. 22 was the injury year. 23 was the first year back. And like a lot of players, he'll tell you he was not himself that first year back from the knee injury, from the ACL. Last year he was. All of his numbers were career highs across the board. So tied his career high in tackles. His pressures were almost 3 times higher than they had been in any season. They were almost 4 times higher than they'd been the previous year. Previous best 2 sacks, he had 6.5. Tershan Wharton had 10 hurries credited to him over the first 4 years of his career. He had 10 last year. So Turk's numbers last year were good. It was a contract year, and yes, contract years are undefeated. So there's that to consider. And that's why but I still think, I think that you might end up missing Turk. I mean, you've drafted Omar Norman-Lott, but to me, if you want to improve the pass rush, remember the pass rush was not very good last year. I mean, I think you'd rather have 3 interior pass rushers than 2. So yes, Omar Norman-Lott's a great addition, I think, for this team. There's a lot of, people in this organization comparing Omar Norman-Lott to Turk Wharton. So that's all good. I think I'm going to go vote on Turk on that one, Sharon. And like I said, the only thing that would make me feel differently is if you start getting some injuries to the safeties, then I think you're going to wish that you had Justin Reid back. Jackie, I missed your question. I just skipped over it. My apologies. Connor's playing in the slot. Would they move McDuffie in if Fulton is still out? I think you're still going to see McDuffie playing a lot in the slot, period. Troy Connor is going to play some. And based on what we saw today, I was expecting Jaden Hicks to be out there with the ones. He was not today. Now he was out there in specific situations, as a third safety. But today the Chiefs were going with Brian Cook as your strong safety and Shamari Connor as your free safety. And like I said, there were not a ton. There was only 6, snaps. And most of what we saw today were, the Chiefs against the defense, against air, working on, base defense. So not a ton of substitution packages. We'll get more information in the days to come. But right now, the depth chart, what we saw today would tell you that, Shamari Connor is your starting free safety. Brian Cook is your starting strong safety. Jaden Hicks is the third guy. When Hicks comes in, I would expect him to, he could play all 3. He can play both those positions. So it wouldn't surprise me if he's playing free safety, even though I think might be their best strong safety too. But Dave Merritt, I think, will tell you that Jaden Hicks might be their best at both those spots. But Shamari Connor is going to be, one of their inside, slot guys. And that's why I think they want him on the field a lot, because I think that they want the flexibility to be able to put Shamari Connor or Trent McDuffie in the slot. I think you are still going to see McDuffie in the slot a lot this year, maybe more than last year. Who knows? But yeah, and Christian Fulton, once again, injuries have been a problem for him. So if Fulton misses extensive time, what does this defense look like? Well, it's McDuffie and Jaylen Watson. And then, what happens on the inside? Yeah, Shamari Connor is probably one of those. If you move McDuffie inside, then who comes in next? That's kind of a rotation. The second team corners today were Najee Johnson and Noel Williams. That was a little bit of a eyebrow raise for me, because then that left Joshua Williams and Chris Roland Wallace as the third set of corners. Now I'll preface this. We all know that between Steve Spagnuolo and Dave Merritt, that they will mix and match to find the best tandems and the best pairings. So don't take that, as gospel. That can absolutely continue to change and evolve. It's just the way it was on day one. Now, that said, it also raised my eyebrows a little bit because, Dave Merritt And Steve Spagnuolo also talked a lot in OTAs about Noah Williams swimming a little bit. So is this an indication that maybe things are slowing down for him a little bit, or are they just trying to check him out and see what he's got? Now, today was not enough time. Like I said, today was not enough time as far as what they had done on the field to really make any judgments. So let's see what happens. There's a long way to go. 16 more practices in St. Joe, I believe. So, and we've seen, the rotations at corner and defensive back change quite a bit over, in the past. I mean, we've seen some seasons where the Chiefs figure out the rotation in training camp, but we've also seen situations where they didn't find it out till the second half of the season. So your mileage may vary about what the corner rotation is going to be. Infopocalypse, thoughts on Justin Simmons if he was really cheap? I asked because he was quoted recently saying he'd rather be a bench player for KC than starter in Denver. Didn't see it. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily blame a lot of people for saying that. I mean, Chiefs are closer to winning the Super Bowl, and if you want a ring, go where the ring is. Hey, for a low price incentive laden deal, yeah, I would absolutely consider Justin Simmons. I mean, I wouldn't give Justin Simmons a 3-year, $24 million deal with a bunch of money guaranteed. He's going to be 32 years old this year. Is he 32 now? No, he's almost 30. He's going to be 32 in November. So his age 32 season. I mean, he's not the Justin Simmons that you think of and remember. I mean, is he still a good player? Sure. I mean, 2 years ago, he was second team All-Pro. But he's, it's just inevitable. I mean, age is going to catch up with everybody eventually. There's even a, concern Mike Edwards. I mean, age might be catching up with him. So, do you want to be ready just in case? And Justin Simmons, if he came in to the point of that quote, I'll assume for a moment, just because I didn't see it. I mean, I'm sure I'm Apocalypse. I trust you, so I believe it. In that case, yeah, I mean, Justin Simmons coming in as a low cost incentive laden backup on this team, sure, I wouldn't have a real issue there. I just wouldn't pay him a ton of money, and it wouldn't be with the expectation that he would come in and start, because I think that at this point in his career, Justin Simmons is a reliable backup. So if that's the case, then I'd feel a lot better about the safety group. Like I said, I mean, I do like the safety group. I think there is some nice young talent in that room, but it does feel like that they're just one injury away from things being a little bit tricky. So I could see them coming in and maybe trying to add some depth and experience in that room. And if that's Justin Simmons, don't have a problem with that at the right price. And let's see here. Was one you had the wrong coach? I don't know. Alex, Matt, I would happily take the money to sit and watch Simmons from the bench if I were Moore. Hey, I mean, money spins. So, and Jaylen Moore, technically this year, I mean, basically making $21 million this year. If he's back with the team next year, he's kind of taking a pay cut. I mean, it's tricky. I mean, just because of the way that the money is guaranteed and everything. I mean, he's getting paid more money next year, but some of that money of next year is guaranteed. So technically, I mean, this could be like a 1-year, $21 million deal, or it's 2 for 30 for Jaylen Moore. So yeah, I mean, if you only ended up on the Chiefs 1 year, 21 million, that's a good deal. And I'd take that money as backup money. So now, of course, if I was the backup, I'd get my butt kicked, but yes, Jesus, money bags. You are absolutely correct. And nobody is going to begrudge anyone for securing that bag. As a Chiefs cornerback once told me about this. What was he trying to do? Secure that bag. And yes, that was Steven Nelson, in case you're wondering. Perry, any word on why Fulton is on the PUP list? We do know it is a knee injury, popped up during OTAs. Whether it's related to his previous knee injury, a knee injury last year, and he's kind of he's had different knee injuries on and off. Whether it's related to last year's or any of the others, I don't know. I don't know if it's something new or something he just aggravated. But it did pop up during OTAs. So we do know it's the knee, and we know that it looks like that of the two between him and Jawan Taylor, he's a little bit further away than Jawan is. But I mean, the Chiefs are still acting like Christian Fulton's going to be out there during training camp. So we'll find out what happens. But yeah, it is a knee injury that he is dealing with. T-Bills, will Jaylen Royals be next man up during Rasheed's suspension? I mean, I would certainly expect that he's going to get a few extra reps and snaps, but I don't necessarily think that it's going to be significant. I mean, I think that the Chiefs would game plan around, Rasheed's suspension a little bit. They might keep an additional receiver. I mean, I think the Chiefs are going to keep 5 receivers. They could keep 6, even with Rasheed suspended, and in that 6th. Those 5th and 6th. I mean, I would have Nico Remigio as the 6th receiver. If Rasheed is suspended for a period of time, then who is that 6th, receiver along with, Nico as maybe the 5th? I mean, it could be any number of guys, Tyquan Thornton, Jason Brownlee, a young guy like an Elijah Badger, Mac Delaney that, Nick and I have been talking about, had a really nice catch today on a deep ball. But I mean, are any of them, am I expecting any of them to play significant snaps in the absence of Rasheed Rice? Not really. And Jaylen Moore, I mean, he could surprise us, but I think that, for year one, he's a 4th round receiver for a reason. And that's why I mean, if you're looking for what, to expect from Jaylen Royals this year, Chris Conley numbers as a rookie would be like I'd take that right now. I mean, if you got Chris Conley rookie numbers from Jaylen Royals, I'd take that to the bank right now. I think it's more likely. I think you'd probably see a lot more Juju than Jaylen Royals with Rasheed Rice out. I also think you would probably see a lot more tight ends. So, could the Chiefs keep 4 tight ends early on and instead of maybe 6 receivers? Or maybe they're going to keep 4 tight ends plus 6 receivers. And you just simply use a lot more 12 and 13 personnel. That I could see. I mean, that would be consistent with a little bit of what the Chiefs did last year. Question then becomes, hey, who's a better player to have out there on the field? Is it Jaylen Royals or is it, your extra receiver? Is it Noah Gray or Robert Tonyan or Jake Breedingstool? I mean, could be having that extra tight end out there, a 2 or 3 tight end sets. I mean, maybe that's a better look than, having a rookie receiver like Jaylen Royals, I would imagine you get a little bit, but again, I mean, the Chiefs ideally in their scenarios would be that Jaylen Royals would play a lot more in the second half of the season than the first half of the season because he's, as a rookie, he's just going to be better. I mean, we've seen that with Rasheed last year. We saw it with Rice 2 years ago. I mean, that's the way to kind of go about it. So we'll see what happens. Hey, everybody, we got our guy. Everybody's been asking for him. Nick is in the house.
Greetings, Matt. Camp greetings.
Greetings, Nick. How are you this evening?
I'm good. Let's get done putting the groceries away. And after we get done with this, I'll go do laundry and do some other stuff in the next 3.5 hours.
Well, the first question I have to ask you, do we have any Hy-Vee finds this week?
Oh, yeah. Let me send them in an email. Been talking to this in advance.
I'm a pain in the neck, aren't I?
You're something. You are something.
But at least by asking about the Hy-Vee finds, I am not trying to get you fired.
Okay.
My goal the rest of the evening is just simply, Nick, to enjoy your presence and not upset you in any way. And I shouldn't say that because now you're going to think that you're going to think that I am trying to make people think that you're easily ticked off. That is not the case. It's just that I, in particular, have a tendency to say things that Nick rightfully feels puts him in a difficult position. So now that I've already done that, I'm going to swear I will not do it the rest of the night.
Dude, you can't help it. It's just like a skill set you have, man.
It is. It's
going to be a day where I'm going to be in a meeting and they're going to be like, "Yeah, Nick, we'd like to talk to you about some stuff on the Chiefs Q&A."
This is nothing like the fear that I used to live with at Time Warner Cable when I was, responsible for communications and everything that comes out of the building, and worried on a daily basis about somebody coming up to me and saying, "We need to talk to you about Mick Schaefer's Twitter account."
So, anyways,
a question that Chris fired off that I saved just for you, since he asked for both of our opinions. How disappointing would you be if the Chiefs do not win another Super Bowl with Reid and Mahomes? Will a lack of a fourth Super Bowl change your opinion of this era?
No.
It's still the greatest era ever, right?
For the Chiefs, yeah.
Well, there's no doubt about that.
Like the Chiefs have had one of the best eras. Whatever they do is whatever they do. Everybody wants to put all these expectations on that they should be up there with Brady and Belichick. Like, I'm sorry, but like the Chiefs, they're going to do everything they can to win as many as they possibly can. Injuries are going to determine that, and sometimes those things are out of their control. And so they've been lucky and fortunate to not have the injuries that they've had, to not have some of the injuries, knock on wood, that could cost them, being able to win. So, I mean, like, they've built a program, they built a franchise that a lot of other NFL teams haven't been able to replicate and duplicate, and they have a quarterback that nobody else in the NFL has whenever it comes down to clutch time, when it comes down to the true situation. Mahomes is a gamer unlike any other quarterback that's out there in the NFL. So while the Eagles fans continue to show up in my mentions and continue to taunt about how they won that one Super Bowl, congrats. That's awesome. You won it. It's over. Now let's go see if you can do it back to back. Let's go see if you can try 3 times in a row. That's when stuff gets real, whenever you have the target on your back. Chiefs have had the target on their back since 2019, and they've been able to make it to the AFC Championship every single time with Mahomes at quarterback. And they somehow, even when they've had rosters that shouldn't be in the Super Bowl, have found a way to get to the Super Bowl. So they got their reality check with the Eagles last year about what they need to do on offense, and we'll see if they can come out and do what they need to do at the left tackle situation. And if that can get handled, and if their pass rush can get handled, and if those things can get handled, those can become strengths rather than the weaknesses, then they're going to put themselves in yet another great position to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be a hot take Matt here or anything. I mean, no, I wouldn't. This wouldn't change my opinion of this era. Once again, yes, I mean, it's the greatest era in Chiefs history. I mean, they're going to be hard pressed to ever repeat this again. I mean, most NFL franchises are going to be hard pressed to beat this again. I mean, the only NFL franchise that you legitimately say has matched what the Chiefs have done since 2018 are the New England Patriots. And, and even then, I mean, you can parse it that the Patriots had 2 eras, and I'm not sure that either one of the Patriots eras was necessarily as good as what the Chiefs have done since 2018. I mean, Chiefs, this era could certainly go up against the Patriots 2 eras, but the only thing it would change is just your perception about whether Andy Reid or Bill Belichick's the best head coach of all time, or Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback of all time. I mean, if Andy and Patrick sit at 3, then Belichick and Brady are going to be the best of all time. There's not going to be any arguing that. They're not going to have the numbers. There you go. That's my hot take, Matt. Scott, it was announced today that Josh Briscoe, who is a friend of the program, and I love that there is an E on the end of his name, because I add an E onto the end of Josh's name all the time, and I tell him that the E is for excellence. Is the new pregame and postgame guy on Chiefs Radio Network. Is he replacing Art Haynes? Yes, Art announced last month that he was going to be stepping down and retiring. I'm sure, as many of you know, Art, suffering from West Nile virus, has made an absolutely remarkable comeback to do not only the Chiefs Radio Network for pregame and postgame shows, but also to come back and do the Missouri State Sports Network, football and basketball. Just absolutely amazing, considering the challenges and the struggle that Art's gone through. But he is hanging them up. He is going to do one more game. He's doing the first football game for Missouri State in Conference USA, and then riding off into the sunset. And I met Art in 1990. I can't say that like I'm best friends with Art, because even though I knew of Art all those years, I was a minor enough figure that Art didn't really remember me until I came back out to the Chiefs beat. But he is absolutely a class act, one of a kind. And I know that Josh, I talked to him about this, and I know that he understands and appreciates, Art's legacy. And that's why, to me, Josh taking this role, he's the perfect guy for it. He's going to do a great job. He is a great person. He's going to kick butt on that role. I think he's going to be great in that spot. And like I said, I would want that job to go to somebody who understands and appreciates and respects Art, and Josh is that guy. So those are my 2 cents on it.
Good job, Matt. Proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Jackson wants to know if we have ever considered doing a Chiefs Digest meetup. I mean, we have been asked about it. I think we've talked about it and just like, hey, that'd be interesting. I just fear about, whether anybody would show up, Nick, but.
Well, Matt, there's only one way you can find out.
To do one and see if anybody shows up.
There you go.
All right. I don't know if we can make it happen during this year's training camp, because as I usually say, once training camp starts, I feel like I'm already 2 weeks behind. It's day one. This year I feel like I'm already 3 weeks behind. But if we can find a way, I'll pledge to think about it and to see if there's something that we can come up with. And hey, if you guys and the guys and gals have any ideas, fire away in the conversation or in the comments and on YouTube, and let me know, because sometimes you just need a groundswell. Sometimes you just need you need a grassroots effort to make these things happen, Nick.
So I saw Casey Harold said meet in a Hy-Vee parking lot.
Well, that would fit our brand.
We don't have a brand.
I feel like we do have a brand.
Okay.
All right. Which one do you want to go to first? We have Hy-Vee Finds, everybody.
There's another edition of Hy-Vee Finds on this Tuesday. First one is in a helpful aisle. Once Matt pulls it up, it is the new late night Doritos, the sizzling cheeseburger.
My goodness.
I did not get it. I do not know what it tastes like. If there's a smaller bag, I may try it. I tried the tangy ketchup. Wasn't half bad. That's actually what I was eating before we did the podcast on Sunday there, because I needed something real quick, because I hadn't eaten in about 8 hours. So I got busy. Sunday sound off. But yeah, if you want to have the taste of a cheeseburger without the total fat count, the Doritos late night is a possibility for you.
I feel like calling it Doritos late night, they're very, very specifically marketing this to people who have perhaps overindulged on adult beverages.
Or it could just be that those people are night owls, and night owl was taken because it's trademarked.
I mean, can you eat Doritos late night at 3:00 in the afternoon?
You can eat them whenever you want. It's just a brand. Like nobody's gonna knock on your front door and be like, excuse me, sir or ma'am, you're not supposed to be eating those. They say late night on them. Why are you eating those at 2:00 in the afternoon? Nobody's gonna stop eating their own house. Okay?
I don't know what happens
or
anymore.
Condo or townhome, whatever you got. Nobody's gonna stop you.
I just want to make sure it's acceptable. I would not want to be in.
Matt, go take a bag up to Chiefs camp. You can eat them right there in the morning.
That's the thing. I mean, I don't want to be eating Doritos late night.
I don't know if security is going to let you go through with it, but you can try it.
Yeah, I don't want to know if I can be eating Doritos late night at 9:00 in the morning and not be judged by people.
Nobody's going to judge you. They're just going to ask if they can try a chip.
All right, next, number 2 on tonight's Hy-Vee Finds.
This is how you know football has started. Hy-Vee already has up their pumpkin spice and their Halloween candy behind it. If you were ready for Halloween in July, Hy-Vee is here for you with the Kellogg's pumpkin spice, the Frosted Flakes pumpkin spice, the fall blend, pumpkin spice, Starbucks blend, you name it, it is all ready to be pumpkin spiced.
I feel like, I've seen and it makes sense to have the pumpkin spice. What? It's Special K. Special K, I guess, there feels like there's probably a pumpkin spice Cheerios. I mean, that seems like would make sense. Maybe pumpkin spice mini wheats. I don't know if I can get behind the pumpkin spice Frosted Flakes. I don't know if that's Tony the Tiger's brand for me, but
either way, it is there for $5.49.
It was 80 degrees this morning with 80 degrees humidity. I was sweating standing still, Nick. That is not pumpkin spice weather.
Well, either way, it is now in the aisle at Hy-Vee.
Well, I guess you can stock up early.
And this one, Matt, is just purely for you.
I appreciate this. Yes.
You're going to have to get all the Coca-Cola bottles so you can have Yoda and you can have all the other R2-D2.
Baby Yoda, Queen Amidala, I see.
Sure. You could be making that up right now. I have no idea.
I've seen the ad campaign and seen the commercials and everything like that, and that is very impressive. And behind me somewhere, I can't see it right now, but when I made my trek to Disneyland back in 2019, I got two of the Coke specific. I think they're in my other office there. Well, not my other office. They're in the bedroom on my bookshelves with all my little collectibles and everything. But I have the Coke bottle detonator. That's like what Princess Leia as Boosh the Bounty Hunter had in Return of the Jedi. And then there is the Dasani bottle of water. And both of them have, of course, the Arabic writing, the fonts from Star Wars and everything. So, I mean, the branding between Star Wars and Coca-Cola it is strong. They are strong in the Force.
Outstanding. Matt, you got me for 19 more minutes.
I greatly enjoyed tonight's Hy-Vee finds, and we're already up to 744 on the questions. So
those poor people, they're just sitting around waiting for their question to be answered.
Okay, I'm wondering what would happen if I called up the fine folks at Zarda and said, "Hey, we want to hold the Chiefs Digestion. Can you guys help us out?" I wonder what they would say to me, other than "Who are you and why are you calling us?"
That's what I would say in their shoes.
I figured. I did not get any good videos today, so I don't have any clips of Royals to share with you. Today was a bad day for shooting for myself. I'm sure the videographers. I know you had Matt Foster and Mackenzie Nelson out today. I'm sure they did a much better job of getting some video than I did. Today was a weird day. 68-minute practice, Nick.
I hate that for you, Matt. I really do.
Okay, so this is what I think you all were talking about last week. August 2nd, the Blue Springs Zarda, 7 to 9 p.m. All serious Chiefs fans will be there. So this is like another event. This isn't, you didn't just plan this, right, Brian? You didn't just call up and get reservations. This is some other event, right? I think you're all talking about.
Probably.
I mean, I'm not opposed to showing up and and crashing on somebody else's event, but yeah, I don't like 60% chance of rain on Thursday and Friday for camp. That's bad. Perry, do you make anything out of the O-line having extra coaches in camp this year? And this is a reference to Trey Smith. I don't know if you heard it today, Nick. He dropped it in the line that Juan Castillo and Cam Irving were out there today. And Trey in his comment even made it just sound like that might be just for today. I mean, it's not unusual. I mean, Andy Reid, because he's Andy Reid, has just friends and former players and people like that just dropping by periodically to offer their thoughts. And I mean, remember last year, I thought for a moment that John Gruden was going to buy a house in St. Joe. He was in camp so long, but today, Juan Castillo, hey, legendary offensive line coach, son Greg on the scouting staff with the Chiefs, and Cam Irving, former Chiefs offensive lineman, both in helping out. Not unusual for folks like that to just come in for a day or two, or like I said, John Gruden for a week and just offer their 2 cents and pitch in.
Yeah, Matt. I'll be curious to see if Juan Castillo's there longer.
I was going to say, did you like seeing that?
I didn't see anything, but I heard it.
Well, did you like at least hearing about it?
I did like hearing about that. I think he should have a permanent residency there. For people that don't realize, he was actually up for the original line coach on the Chiefs coaching staff, but he elected to go a different direction. If I remember the article, there was an article that was out a handful of years ago that supposedly he got offered the assistant head coaching job and O-line coach job, according to the interview that he did with somebody about why he chose the path that he did. And so, I mean, he had an opportunity to be the O-line coach here, and it'd been interesting if what would have been differently about it, how long you might have been here, how it would have gone, all that type of stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, and like Jimmy's question here, neither of these guys are by any, I mean, as our understanding, or new members of the staff or anything like that. I mean, just sounds like they're in camp for a period of time. Could be a day or two, could be more than that. We'll see. But there's no indication at this point either one of them are joining the staff long term. But this is pretty much par for the course for some of Andy Reid's family and friends to come in and just put in some appearances and help out and offer their advice. And hey, nobody's going to turn that down. I mean, if Juan Castillo wants to come in and offer some advice, I ain't turning it down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he might be in there seeing his son. With his son being on staff, he may be getting to spend some time with him. And let's see. In December, Castillo was hired by Michigan as the offensive analyst for the offensive line under head coach Tershan Moore. So we'll see if he's. I don't know. We'll have to check on that right now. He was the O-line coach at UCLA last year with Bieniemy.
Well, there you go. I am going to lose some super cool points here because Pepe wants to know, what is your favorite Ozzy Osbourne Black Sabbath song? Do you have one, Nick?
He says, "Hey, Matt" on that.
I know, but I'm asking you.
He says, "Hey, Matt" on that.
I don't care. I'm asking you.
He says, "Hey, Matt."
Matt says, "Hey, Nick, do you have a favorite?"
Yeah, so Juan Castillo is the senior assistant offensive line coach on Michigan's on the website for Michigan.
Currently, so yeah.
I mean, right? I don't know when this was last updated. So, yeah. I mean, I can't definitively tell, but I know Juan Castillo is listed as a senior assistant offensive line coach. And Big Ten, I think they're having media days this week, if I remember correctly.
And there's nothing more that football coaches like and everything like that than just going around this time of year and visiting their friends, especially college coaches. It's what they do. So I'm going to lose my cool points here, Nick, because, I mean, I can say that, I guess, like, I mean, I was not a Black Sabbath fan of any sort or an Ozzy fan. I'm aware of Crazy Train. So I mean, that's a perfectly acceptable song. I mean, I do own one Ozzy Osbourne song, and that is the Lita Ford duet, "Close My Eyes Forever." So that is a great power ballad. So that's all I'm saying. I'm a power ballad guy. I think I've well established that. That duet was fantastic, but I'm sure that some hardcore Ozzy and Black Sabbath fans will be deeply offended by that. Jackie, what team was Josh Williams playing on? I saw a post that said Noel Williams was on second team. Yeah, I mean, once again, just limited work today, but Josh Williams was pairing with Chris Roland Wallace as the third set of corners, and Noel Williams was working with Nazeeh Johnson on the second group of corners. So, I mean, that's going to change quite a bit. So I'm not reading too much into it. I thought it was interesting that, considering how much that Steve Spagnuolo and Dave Merritt kind of talked about during OTAs, that Noel Williams was swimming a little bit and trying to catch up, that they put him in a pretty good position today. So maybe that's an indication that by the end of OTAs that he was starting to catch up a little bit. But we also know, Nick, I mean, it's pretty common that they do a lot of mixing and matching this time of year just to try and figure out what their best combinations are.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about what they do in the first week. We'll see in the weeks ahead, because today it was like an equivalent of them kind of getting back in an OTA rhythm, essentially.
See, when you're not here, I do a really, really, really terrible job of rolling down and scrolling. As I know I say this almost every week, I do a really bad job of scrolling down and reading all the comments. So I'm now reading the comments from things that happened like 45 minutes ago. And I mean, I'm acknowledging them. Some of them are quite funny and everything. I'm enjoying them. So, everybody, Thomas, any chance that Jaylen Moore steals the spotlight tackle away from Jawan Moore? Everybody seemingly wants Jaylen Moore to beat out Jawan Taylor. Do you see it happening, Nick? Because I mean, I've been saying I just don't see it. Think it's going to happen.
What's the question? Because I don't see it on the screen.
Will Jaylen Moore beat out Jawan Taylor? That's kind of why I took it down off the screen.
Okay.
Beat out Jawan Taylor for the right tackle job.
I mean, I think Jawan Taylor is going to be the right tackle, and I think Jaylen Moore is going to essentially either be the left tackle or the swing tackle. And if somebody has an injury, then he hops in immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, I understand that Jawan is not a fan favorite in Kansas City, but I think the Chiefs are pretty happy with. I mean, they're happy with what they have. Maybe I shouldn't say pretty happy. They're happy with what they have, and I also, like I said, I just don't see any upside to unless that Jaylen Moore is just simply significantly better to Jawan Taylor. I don't see a upside to replacing Jawan Taylor at this point, especially if he becomes your swing tackle and you need him sometime in the future. I don't know if that's the best way to keep his head in the game and keep his head up. But Bobby, what is Rasheed's reputation in the locker room? Is he viewed as more of an off the field in the locker room, the inverse of Tony? I mean, I'll say this. I'm not trying to be too controversial here or anything like this. And I preface this with absolutely completely saying that you don't know these guys. I mean, you can talk to players in the locker room, but we don't get to hang around with them as much as, to really, build anything. So anything that you can pull and from a few conversations in a locker room isn't necessarily reflective of a character. But I mean, I can say at least in my limited interactions with Rasheed Rice, I mean, he strikes me absolutely completely by and large as seemingly a really good kid who did something really, really stupid. And his teammates do like him. I mean, he seems to be a very good locker room presence. I mean, when you see him in the locker, even last year when he was injured and on crutches and everything, I mean, he seemed like he had a really good attitude. He had a smile on his face. I mean, he was not anybody who was bringing anybody down. He certainly seemed to be giving that team some juice. And Tony, I don't think was a bad locker room presence. He might have just been a little bit of a distraction because occasionally he was a little crazy, but Rasheed Rice, by all evidence, is a good teammate, and I haven't seen anything differently. I mean, I don't know if you have any thoughts or you have even want to weigh in on it, Nick. I mean, no reason that you need to.
I haven't seen anything from any of the players to where they would seem uncomfortable in the locker room around him or anything of that nature. He seems to have fun with a lot of the teammates. So, yeah. Matt, to answer your other question, Matt McMullen of Chiefs.com put this out there. The coaches are a part of the Bill Walsh Fellowship coaches at camp this year.
Oh, there you go. So that's Cam Irving.
So I'm going to name off the list. Hillary Butler, defensive quality control for Baylor. Mike Bond, former running backs coach, UConn. Juan Castillo, longtime NFL offensive line coach. Then you have Ryan Davis, who's at FAMU. You have CJ Edwards, wide receivers coach at UT Martin, I think. You have Cam Irving, former, obviously, offensive lineman that is using the fellowship to kind of get his foot in the door coaching-wise, because once you've been at Andy Reid training camp and seen how that operates, it does help open some doors, maybe at the high school, college, or pro level down the road. And it gives them a chance to kind of showcase themselves for Coach Reid and for some of the coaches on staff if they ever end up becoming head coaches. Eli, I'm going to say his name wrong. He's the offensive analyst at UCLA. Then you have AJ Hampton. He's the defensive backs coach in Northern Iowa. Nate Pagan, he's a defensive line coach at Austin P. And then you have Mark Saldana, offensive assistant, San Jose. So those are the people that are part of the Bill Walsh Diversity Coaching Fellowship.
I mean, and all of this makes complete sense. And Cam Irving being on that, absolutely. That all of this is clicking and making perfect sense and coming together here. I am a little baffled at Juan Castillo being a Bill Walsh Fellowship coach because, I mean, Juan Castillo's been a coach for 40 years, Nick. He's been in the NFL. I don't know what to make of that. I'm completely baffled by that. I mean, this is reminding me of I didn't see it, but I remember the premise of the film when Robert De Niro was the intern.
Yeah, the internship with Anne Hathaway and him.
Yeah. What's Juan Castillo doing being an intern at a job that he has done and been very good at for like 40 years?
Matt, I don't ask questions. I just enjoy the ride right now.
I mean, this would be like you being an intern at KSHB 41, interning with yourself as the sports producer.
I get what you're saying, but it doesn't correlate here because I'm a full-time employee.
I'm just a little confused, but you know what? We're gonna move on. We're just gonna accept the fact that he's a good coach. He's in there helping out the Chiefs, and Cam Irving's trying to break himself into the business, and this is a great way to do it. So let's see what happens.
5-minute warning, Matt.
5-minute warning. Is Gardner Minshew, Brian, going to be running for his life in preseason games? I assume that Brian here is concerned about the number 2 offensive line.
I hope not. We'll see whenever they have the preseason game. Good answer that question.
I mean, sometimes they end up doing it just because, hey, 2 line for is going to be dependent upon, what kind of defenses they go up against too. So might be going up against some teams that don't have a very good, number 2 pass rush. So your mileage may vary.
It does.
Now, I will go ahead and give Brian some attention on this one because he says it's not officially, not a question, but not officially football until Kelsey takes a swing at somebody. I did ask the question today in the media tent, Nick, which the question was, how long before Travis Kelsey throws a football at somebody? Because it's hot, it's muggy, and as always, young players are trying to prove themselves by punching the football away from Travis Kelsey. And sometimes that doesn't end well.
He handled himself well last year when it happened a handful of times. So
he did last year. He handled it well.
He was a little bit more irritated about it. I get it.
Did not handle it well. No, did
Plays
not handle
over.
it well 2 years ago.
So understandable.
You don't hold a teammate in practice.
Oh, and Matt's back.
Oh, was I gone for a second?
For me, you were. I don't know if you were for others.
I have not seen this, Brian.
Is this Brian's 3rd question in a row?
Yeah, Brian's got the hat trick here. So after this, Brian, no more questions. What do y'all think about the season ticket holders preparing to sue the Chargers over the Chiefs home game being moved to Brazil after being used as a sales pitch for season tickets? I mean, if that's the case, it seems like kind of a jerk move, but it's the NFL, so nothing surprises me.
I haven't paid attention to it. Don't know enough about it, and that Chargers will get that figured out or resolved.
Mitchell had these questions last week, and so we wanted this to be prepared. And you know what, Nick, I completely forgot to prepare myself.
Yeah, that's a tough break, Matt. You shouldn't make promises you aren't going to deliver.
Yeah, but I remember, Mitchell, that I told you to ask it again next week and you'll get a better answer. And now I'm probably going to very, very let you down. In your opinion, who will be the 4 most productive running backs in the AFC West this season?
I thought we already answered this last week.
Did we?
I said the Chargers were going to run the ball a bunch. So I said the Chargers are going to be that. And then RJ Harvey is probably going to be pretty good. And then you get
Genty.
Back. Yeah, Genty is going to get the ball a lot. So I'm going Chargers, Broncos, and Genty. Those will be your top 4.
So two guys from the Chargers. So Hampton and
Najee Harris, what if they get that figured out, or whoever the Chargers running back is behind him?
There you go. All right, then. Nobody from Kansas City will be amongst the top 4 most productive running backs in the AFC.
Chiefs don't run a lot. So, I mean, that's just reality.
There you go. All right, what is next? Oh, Pono wants to know whatever happened to the Doritos taco flavor.
It is in the aisle as well. I didn't take
Was
a photo.
Was it in the aisle?
Yep.
Okay, I couldn't remember if that was a seasonal selection, taste, and flavor or not.
It's another late night.
Another late night brand?
Yep. 1 minute warning, Matt.
We don't have that many more questions left.
This is your final question for me, whatever it is.
Your final question. Okay, I got to make it a good one then. Not your cheese rules. Nikki wants you to go to Zarda's, Nick. See, so
that's another podcast's event. I'm not going to another podcast event. That's their thing.
Oh, there you go. Nikki did, is a member, so she gets the shout out. But that's what the second is. So we're not going to crash into anybody else's event. So
that's disrespectful. I'm not about that life.
No, I'm about crashing some people's events, but yeah,
that's their time to shine.
Yeah, I mean, if I was going to crash anybody's event, I mean, I don't know whose it would be, but. Well, see, I told you this is the way it works. People know my routine, and now you're frozen. So, or you left. I'm not sure. You're just frozen. You're here, but you're frozen. People know my drill. They come in, they post their questions. They might stick around, or they might just come back later, knowing that I'm going to answer their question about an hour later. But then the conversation starts, and we don't get a lot of questions late. So you're off the hook. You have no final question.
Well,
I mean, unless there's a last call, anybody wants to get their question out there.
Matt, are you able to see me right now, or am I still frozen?
You're still frozen.
But you can hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Well, with that means that it's time for me to leave. So I'm going to go bye-bye in the car now. Bye-bye.
Well, Nick, thank you very much, as always, for joining us. You are the best. Hey, everybody. I think we got the questions all wrapped up, so let's call it a night. It's been a long day, a lot of stuff going on. I appreciate Nick, as always, for coming in. Appreciate all of you for joining us tonight, and anybody listening to this later, you are all the best. Truly appreciate it. Chiefs, after we get off of here, I'm going to be finishing my notebook. Today was a pretty busy day. And Nikki, there you go. Other podcasters came last year. You would be welcome. Oh, I know. Hey, all Chiefs up. I know they're gracious folks. I know they would be glad. I'd hate to crash somebody else's event, but I'll take a look at it, Nikki, if we can figure it out. I want to be a man of the people. So it sounds like it was, you said, all say last year was a great event. So that's fantastic. I'm glad. Appreciate that, Nikki. Thank you very much. Like I said, I'm going to be going from here to finish up my notebook. So I'll put the link in the video as well, but hopefully within the next hour, you go over to Chiefs Digest, you'll be able to get the notebook and everything, all my observations from today, some of the things we talked about today, some of the things we did not to talk about in the questions. So hopefully I'll enjoy that. Be doing the notebook every single day at practice. So hopefully you enjoy it. That's usually the thing I do that gets the most reads and views every single year. So I hope you enjoy camp coverage as always. And like I said, we're working on some videos and hopefully some things to do to help you enjoy your camp experience a little bit more, and seeing some other things coming here on the YouTube channel. Appreciate everybody for joining us. Nick and I will obviously be back on Sunday with 41 as the mic, your next episode in your feed. And as always, next week we'll be back again with the Chiefs Digest Live Q&A and wrap it up another week, first week of training camp next week. So we'll have a lot more things to talk about. And next week, you want to talk about Josh Simmons and Jaylen Moore, Jawan Taylor, and offensive line, and how folks will look. We're going to have some hardcore answers for you, and appreciate. I'm sure some of you hopefully will be going to camp in the next week. We'll get your takes too. You'll have to let us know in the comments what you think, what you saw at training camp. Appreciate everybody. Have a great week. We will see you later. Everybody, take care. Have a good one.